Hey, it's Meg
and Daisy,
and welcome to the Crafternoon Podcast,
a podcast about journaling, creativity, and everything in between.
Welcome to today's episode. This is the first episode, so we thought we would take it right back to the beginning and talk about how we got into journaling and all our creative hobbies and everything that goes with that. So before we get into today's episode, if you'd like to see more journaling content and inspiration, or to let us know any other topics that you'd like to hear from us, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Meg Journals.
And you can find me over on Instagram, YouTube at My Green Cow, and I've also got a website, which is mygreencow.co.uk.
So Daisy, let's start with you. Tell us about your creative journey and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, I think I started with Smashbooking. I think that's where mine began. I came across, I think I was given a Smashbook by my mum for my birthday, and I started using that to just kind of put all the little mementos that I'd collect from being out and about, going on trips, and random packaging that I just liked the look of and didn't want to get rid of. So I stuck it in my Smashbook. From that, I started my Instagram. And from that, I found a lot more like creative hobbies through the community on there. Through that, I found the creative journaling sort of community. I feel like it wasn't quite as popular back then. There wasn't as many people doing the like photo documenting in smaller formats. A lot of it was scrapbooking or Project Life. That was really big back then.
So have you always been creative?
Yes, absolutely. Since I was tiny, my mum has always been creative. She's always been doing creative stuff. We had like a making box in one of our cupboards when I was little, which just had like loads. It just had loads and loads of stuff in it for doing any sort of crafts. Like there was painting stuff, there was so much paper, stickers, just stuff basically that we could play with. She always brings up the story of when I was little and we'd go like shopping with her or whatever. At the end of the checkouts, they always had boxes of like empty boxes that people could take for whatever reason. And I would always look through that and try and find a box that I could take home and make into something. And it would be like, not just the odd occasion, it'd be like every time we went shopping, I'd be like, boxes, boxes, what can I make out of that? And this was, you know, from when I was dinky to not so dinky. So yeah, we've always been a very creative family. There's a lot of, my dad's like drawn and stuff as well. So I think it's part in my genes and part I've kind of just fed that as I've got older.
Yeah. So in terms of then like obviously being creative with your boxes and things like that, how did you then transition to the like in a book, in a journal type of creating? Was that the Smashbooking?
I think, yeah, that was probably Smashbooking. I feel like I had notebooks and stuff. I feel like it started with stationery. Always been obsessed with stationery. I was that kid at school with like 20 pens, didn't need any of them really. I just needed a biro, but I had like 20 fancy pens in my pencil case just because they looked cool. But yeah, stationery and paper and everything that surrounds that I was obsessed with. And then I found Smashbooking and started sharing that. And then when I realized there was like a massive community of creatives on Instagram and just online in general, that's where it started to snowball.
Yeah, so I know like for you, is a lot of yours orientated around like memory keeping and documenting, or do you switch between both?
I think majority of it is now. I still do like more creative just for the sake of creating, not necessarily documenting. I still do that, but yeah, a lot of it is photos are involved and memories and stuff like that. I think a lot of that though is down to time and not having quite as much as I used to, so I kind of prioritize the memory keeping over just the free like random creating, just because the creative journals and stuff they have the memory keeping, but they also have the being creative and having that creative outlet, whereas the art journaling and stuff like that just has, it's more creating for the sake of creating. So yeah, I swap and change between the two whenever I feel like it, but at the moment, time wise, I do tend to prioritize my journals and documenting memories and stuff.
Because that's interesting for me, because my background, I've always been creative, but not from a creative family necessarily. So like my
I
parents
never
weren't
knew that.
creating. Yeah. So well, like I've heard stories of like, I think it was like my great grandmother like crocheted and stuff, and someone else did like iron work, but I've not come from a creative family. It's just kind of like popped in out of nowhere with all these creative hobbies and stuff. I was very much a writer as a kid. I was like reading books upside down at like 2 or whatever. Like that was me. So I think my mum could see that I was gonna be like, you know, doing something creative. So I've always been like expressing myself, whether it's through art, through writing, things like that. And it was just kind of like a natural evolution. I always wanted to keep a diary, but I could never keep up with it ever. You know,
Same.
you'd do like 2
The
pages
amount of
and then you'd
childhood
forget.
diaries. Yes.
Yeah, like I would get my pocket money. I would go to Woolworths back in the day when it was open. I would browse the stationery aisle and I would pick up a like book, and I'd be like, oh, this is like going to be my diary, or this is going to be like, I'm going to write a story, and it would never happen. So like I always wanted to like document and share and even just like express myself creatively, but I could never keep up with that habit. And then in school, like I always did art. I did like GCSE art, and then I went on to do AS level art. So like I
gave up at AS level.
Well, I went to pursue something that was going to be more sort of, you know, career prospects, and then I chose an English degree. But now I'm a writer, so it's fine. It's all worked out. Like
it's worked out. It's all good.
Not that I was discouraged from pursuing art like as a job, but it never occurred to me that that was something that I could do. Whereas I know you came straight out of college and started obviously your like art business and everything like that, but that never occurred to me. So it's very practical in the sense that I did go to uni, do a degree in English, but you know,
I just didn't want to spend the money. I don't know what I want to do. I'm not spending thousands or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's very easy to get kind of wrapped up in like you just kind of go through the motions.
There's a lot of pressures as well.
Yeah, and because like I was doing quite well at school, it was kind of expected that you would then go to college, and then it was expected that you would apply to unis and stuff like that. So not to say that I regret going, but like I kind of just like it never occurred to me that I could do anything creative.
Yeah, you just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah, but then whilst I was at uni, I kind of had picked up the sort of art journaling again, because I had previously done it. I've got ones from like high school, like 2010, 11. They're so cringy.
I bet they're fun to
they're just oh my goodness, they're just full of like boy band pictures. Like I was obsessed with the Wanted, so there's just like pictures of them everywhere and awful spreads. Like just they're so, I don't want to say ugly because I'm trying to be nice to myself. Like I was obviously they're
just a bit cringe.
That was like my skill level at the time. Like that's what I thought, you know, that's what I could do. But now I look back and I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So like so I had always kind of, you know, in the back burner picked up a journal and then put it down, but I hadn't like consistently done it. I hadn't figured out how you could subscribe to blogs. So like every week when I knew like one of my favorite bloggers was going to do a post, I'd be like, run home from school, go on the laptop, like find out what, you know, what they posted on their blog. Like I used to love Jenny Belly and like Julie Faye-Fan Balzer, and that kind of introduced me to that. Oh, you should look into them. They're really cool. But that was kind of the space that I was in. And I really loved then merging the sort of writing with the art. Like that had never really occurred to me. Like my journal with all the boy bands in it was just art. It was no writing or anything like that. No like documenting. And then I would have a separate journal that was like a diary, and I would be like writing about my day and stuff, but I'd never like blended the two. And so when I'd seen that art journaling, that's when it kind of like I was like a whole new world. Like I could see how they go together. So I'd always done that. And then when I was at uni, obviously uni is very stressful, and I wanted like an outlet. And especially at the beginning, obviously when you don't really know people that well and stuff like that. So I really needed something where I could take myself away from like the social situations and kind of be my introvert self and sort of recharge my batteries. So that's when I kind of
journal therapy.
Yeah, basically. So that's when I kind of got back into then doing a bit of journaling and stuff. And then like you, I think I joined Instagram. Did I? I think I might have even like gradually turned my personal Instagram into a journal one,
Yes.
and then people
No,
kind of
that's what I
disappeared.
did.
People unfollowed me, but I was like, well,
Yeah.
I want to be an art one. Is that what you did as well?
Yeah. I had, because My Green Cow, I had the YouTube channel before I started an Instagram. It was just a YouTube channel that I used to watch people's videos on and like comment and stuff. And then I started an Instagram to post like my journals and everything, and called it My Green Cow as well. And then obviously eventually it's kind of gone full circle, and then I started using my YouTube as my journaling YouTube, and my personal Instagram as my journaling Instagram.
So starting up that Instagram, and then kind of realizing then, like you said, there's like a community here, like, hey, I'm not the only one just like randomly sticking stuff in a book, like there's other people doing this as well. Like that was a really nice feeling.
Woo!
Yeah. We are journal nerds.
Yes.
Discovering that community was really great, and kind of then I started sharing like my journals and stuff, the things I was creating. And I know social media gets a bit of a tough time, and like obviously, and like it does in a way deserve that, because it you know, it has all these toxic elements, but for me it kind of really kickstarted my like consistency, because I was sharing. And I mean now it's kind of that relationship between, you don't want to be creating to share, you want to create to create. But at the beginning, I think it was more the community aspect really got me like involved, and I was talking to people, and it just kind of established consistency in my life. Like I was then constantly doing it. So I know
it's
Instagram
a cycle though as well. Like you creating a page and posting it, then having people saying, oh, that's awesome, I want to try that, and then them sharing their page and you seeing it and going, oh, they've tried that, I want to try that. Like it's just a cycle of inspiration, which is more than just sharing it because you want to share it and show it off. It's like, I'm sharing it because I know it's going to inspire people, and in return, like that's going to like domino effect or whatever. The likelihood of something popping up on my feed that's going to inspire me is, it's going to happen.
I think as well, like not even seeing other people's works and thinking like I want to necessarily do that, but it's like, oh, there's something to learn, like discovering junk journaling, discovering all these different types of journaling that there are. It's like I had no idea. So it's kind of like a whirlwind of, oh my goodness, there's so much to see, so much to learn. So that kind of then established journaling as kind of like a concrete like part of my life, where I was like, right, okay, I finally managed to, I felt like mission accomplished, because I was like, I always have wanted to do this, but I'd never been able to do it. And I don't quite know why that is, but then so that's how I kind of got to the point now where I do it, not like really consistently, but it's like a constant presence in my life, is because I had been doing it at uni and wanted kind of the break from uni, the distraction and stuff like that. So it kind of just, I lent into it more. And I think once you do it more and immerse yourself in it more, it then kind of snowballs. Like you said, it kind of snowballs, and then you just, there's so much to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've definitely had the thing where I've like found too many types of journaling that I've wanted to try. And I did get to a point where I was like, okay, look, my creative journals and how I document in those is the main thing that I do. I know that I enjoy it. I like how they turn out, the pages, but there's so many different styles of journaling. And at one point I was trying to do them all. I wanted to just have all these different journals with all these different styles in, but it got to a point where obviously I was overwhelmed by how many I had. And instead I started just taking like techniques, so like junk journaling techniques, and putting them into my creative journals. And the same with like smashbooking and any sort of paper journaling. I found myself taking inspiration from them and just taking little techniques that I wanted to try out in my creative journals and kind of merging them together, rather than having like a junk journal, a smashbook, a creative journal, and all of the others.
I think that's a really good point that you bring up, though, because I think for every person that starts journaling, that's a new style, because you have your own taste, you'll like your own different things. You might like bright colors, you might like boring colors, you might like using
they're not boring, they're muted.
muted, But do you know what I mean? Everyone has their own
Yeah.
taste, style, things that they like,
Absolutely.
things that they don't like. So I think people that start out, it's very easy to get caught up in the like, oh, it must be in this box. Like if I'm creative journaling, I'm doing XYZ. And that's not the case. Like you said, you could be doing a creative journaling spread and, I don't know, bring in like your own illustrations or, you know, documenting mementos from the day, ephemera, things like that. So I think it's kind of everyone has their own style. And I think the more that you journal and create and things like that, you kind of find your groove, you get comfortable with what you like.
Absolutely.
And that's where the negative side of social media comes in, because, you know, you shouldn't be comparing your journal to someone else's journal, because it's so personal. Like it's so personal. And the whole like performance thing of journaling as well really gets to me, because, you know, these are really personal. They're not made to share necessarily. It's kind of a part of you. Obviously sharing them is great, and like the connection and community, but you have to remember that obviously, you know, it's your own creative expression. And if you don't want to share a page, or, you know, you shouldn't not do something because you think, oh, well, this won't be liked on social media. Like I won't get likes on Instagram. Like just do it for yourself. You don't have to share it. If you want to block out part of the page and share another part of the page, that's fine.
I don't share the writing. I never show me adding the writing. I always leave my pages unfinished on all my videos, and I've had a few questions about that, but I'm just like, I don't want to, like, the memory that is attached to photos I can summarize and like when I'm doing the page and stuff, but the actual details of it and like the memory and stuff, some of them are great, some of them are things that I'm like, it was a lesson that I want to document. It wasn't a good memory necessarily, like when I went through a breakup, not a great memory, but I learned so much from that, and it was such a significant point in my life that I wanted to document it and put it in my journal. But I wasn't going to sit there and write about my breakup on camera, so I just summarized it and posted it. But yeah, I don't show me adding the journaling part because that's my bit.
I also think it's quite boring for someone to sit and just watch me write as well. Like aside from, you know, anything else.
I can understand like the seeing, like a lot of people, it's the leaving it unfinished is kind of like not satisfying, and seeing like the words being added to the page is like, you know, everything's coming together kind of thing. But yeah, it's just, that's not something I ever really want to do. That's my bit.
So in terms of online sharing then, now that we're on the topic, maybe we can discuss how our worlds collided and how we met, because it's quite an interesting story. I remember being in my house at uni and kind of doing my little journaling thing, and my account was growing. I was like, oh, this is great. And my flatmates were a bit like, okay, that's a bit weird. But, you know, well, no, one of my housemates, she actually, like, I got her into journaling and she journals now, which is cool. But
that's lovely.
I think they were like, okay, Meg's just kind of doing her own thing.
She's becoming obsessed with paper. Okay.
And I remember, I think I don't know how I found your account, but I remember like I'd obviously followed your account and stuff, and you had your online shop, and you'd put out a call for like a sort of PR team type thing. And I literally remember sitting on like the couch and applying, being like, oh, I do like creative stuff, and I'm like got this Instagram account, blah blah blah. Not knowing that you were like actually living quite nearby at the time, which I find weird. So I joined your like PR team with Sam, and we'd been, I don't know, doing that PR journey, and kind of we'd been getting to know each other, obviously chatting on there. I don't know how we realized, but you were like less than an hour away from me, like where I lived back home. Stuff. That's why, isn't it?
So I had your address, but because I was new to the north, I was still kind of getting my bearings of where everything was and postcodes and stuff like that. And I was like, wait, that's literally just there. Like,
yeah, because I remember there. Because you were sending me stuff at uni, so obviously you just saw my like Midlands uni address, and then I think when I was like, oh hey, like I'm gonna be back home now, here's the address you need to send stuff to so it actually gets to me. I remember you being like, up there, like, whoa, that's close.
Drop that off to you by hand.
I was just gonna travel to some girl on the internet's house. You were inviting a stranger essentially to your house.
Yeah.
And I remember I'd been watching your vlogs on YouTube because my like safety brain was like, okay, this is fine, I'm gonna be okay. She's not gonna like kidnap me and
keep you in the shed.
And I just remember showing up at your door and you obviously opened the door and I was like, oh, like it's just so weird when you've like spoken to someone online and then you see them. I'm like, you've got like legs and you're real, like you're seeing someone in front of you.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
and then I remember heights of people as well.
Yeah, because I think I'm shorter than you thought I was.
Yeah. I'm lanky though, so
yeah. And then I remember coming to your house, and I think just because obviously you'd vlogged, and I was like, oh, it's like being on some sort of set. I was like, I recognize your house and your famous washi wall. I was like, can I take a selfie outside, like in front of your washi wall? So yeah, we had that Crafternoon, didn't we? Which is kind of where the idea for this came in, because I was like, with COVID and now you've moved back down south, it's obviously really difficult for us to do any Crafternoons, but it was so fun. And then I think we had a Christmas edition as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
We crafted
that was a dining room table edition because we had too much Christmas stuff. That was had to move out of the office for that one. I remember you applying to the shop stuff, and at the time I was obviously looking for people who journaled and used paper things and took good photos, because the main thing that I needed, because I was lacking in it, was content for the Instagram page, because I was doing content for, at that time, my other shop and my migraine cow stuff, and so it was just like a lot. So I was like, if I can send some things out and get people to take photos, and then it can kind of roll like that. And you were up there in my two peoples. You was my two peoples with Sam.
We were like a dream team.
It was really nice though, because it was like just kind of working with friends. Like it was easy. It wasn't like I know I didn't have to be super professional with you guys. Like I didn't have to be super I need this da 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 da. I could just be like, yo, sent some stuff. Thanks for the photos. That was so long ago as well. Now I think about it.
Is that like 2016?
Yeah,
17? Because that's when I was in second year.
4 or 5 years ago. We've just nerded out about stationery and journals ever since, basically. But I miss you and like hanging out. I wish we'd had like more.
I wish I'd found out that you were closer sooner.
Yeah.
I'm so salty.
So we could
like
have
obviously situations and everything, but I was like, damn. Like you were so close.
I know. I'm so far away now. But I know I'll be going back up there at some point when COVID is gone. Well, minimized, shall we say.
So to wrap it up then, shall we quickly talk about other creative hobbies? Because I know you don't just do journaling, as I can see behind you. Obviously, if you're listening, you can't see, but I can see behind you right now. You've got all your pom-poms and is it macrame?
I think there's 2 ways to say it. My mum always pulls me up on this because I always say it the American English way, not the British way. But there's macrame and macrame, and I think macrame is the American way
off,
and macrame is the British way, because she used to do it when she was younger, and she called it that. And when I started calling it macrame, she was like, "What? that's not what it is." What? Yeah, when I moved back here, and I was living in the office, and then eventually I got a bedroom once we'd sorted things out. But when I got a bedroom, it was obviously like blank canvas, so I was trying to think of ways that I could easily and cheaply make stuff to decorate it, and string was the thing that jumped out at me. I got into making pom-pom garlands and things to hang my plants on, because I also became very, very obsessed with plants as well.
That's
which I feel like that's like our other nerd topic that we nerd out about. Just plants. Here's a plant meme, Meg. Have a plant meme. Oh my god, if you've seen this plant meme.
What's your newest addition? What's your latest plant or your favorite plant?
I feel bad because they've all like died over winter.
Has the one I gave you died, or did it survive? That was rather tragic, and I felt so bad that I'd gifted you a dead plant.
No, because there was 2. There was obviously the one you'd ordered, and then they'd sent me another one, but the other one was like on death's door. Like it was really horrendous looking. But it was technically free, right? You hadn't paid for it. So I managed to save them. Like what do you call it? Uprooted them. Ripped them out their pots. and put them in the little jars with water. So their roots grew really well and they had really good roots. And then when the weather started getting a bit warmer, I was like, okay, I'm going to try repotting them because they'd taken up, like they had like a ball of roots in the glass thing that I was keeping them in. And when I repotted them, they've just kind of like, I didn't water them because I knew that root rot was one of the main things that has killed off things in this room. This room is awful really for plants because I've got the airing cupboard in here, so it's really warm, but also the windows are horrendously drafty, so it's also really cold. I don't know how that works, but it that's the thing. So yeah, my plants are a little bit unhappy with that, but they're still alive. I just don't know how alive they're going to be alive for. I'm trying.
I've got a calathea at the moment, and like all my other plants are doing really well. You know, they're chilling, they're happy. And this calathea, which I think is just a meme at this point for everyone that has plants, they're just awful, like so diva-y to take care of. It's
sassy plant.
Like I don't like to give up on a plant, but it's in last chance saloon. Like it has, I have tried everything. I have tried like, oh, I've overwatered it, so I've not watered it. It's had filtered water. I've made sure it's in like certain like bright indirect light. It's just dying off on me. And at this point, I'm just like, go do your thing.
Be gone. Walk out the door.
Yeah, because all my other plants here thriving. It's clearly not, well, maybe it is me, but like, you know, my other plants are doing okay. They're not complaining. So yeah. I just don't know. But that's, you know, the life of a plant mom, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like I've got one that's like really crispy looking, and next to it is one that's like just looks gorgeous. Like it's just got nice plump leaves, like everything's good on it. And then along from that is like a wilting, the one that you gave me. So it's very hit and miss on my mantelpiece, to say the least, with plants. So yeah, work in progress on my plant knowledge, I think. Yeah, but it's fine. We're going on to summer, so we'll be learning again.
Yeah, I was gonna say I won't be sending anyone online plants again because I felt so sad.
Like it is hit and miss.
Like a lovely Christmas present, and you just got like half dead plant. I was like, I tried my best.
One of them was good. One of them was alive. I just messed that one up. That was my bad.
So in terms of other creative hobbies for me, I have recently gotten into crochet, but by the third lockdown, and it was dark outside and rainy and I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Like I had been going on my walks and stuff, but I couldn't. And I was just like, I'll be damned if I don't come out of lockdown learning something, which you don't have to learn something in lockdown. I don't want people to take that away. But I was just like, I want to learn something. I want to do something. Even if I'm rubbish at it, I want to do something. So I bought a workshop in a box for crochet off Etsy. And I sat there with my like little box and like Coronation Street on the TV, and I was like learning to crochet like some OAP. But it's so relaxing and therapeutic. Yeah. And it takes ages. I'm a really slow crocheter, I've found. Like I'm only on to my second blanket at the moment. But
have you just done blankets?
Oh,
have you attempted? You've not attempted anything?
No. Yeah, because you sent me that bag, didn't you?
So that was made of squares. So I was like, really? It's just like a weird shaped blanket that you just attached to make it look like a bag. So
so they were just granny squares and then crocheted together. So maybe I'll try it. Yeah, at the moment I'm just doing flat things. So we're just doing a blanket. But yeah, just like putting on a podcast or like an audiobook. Like I'm really into my reading this year. Like I've read...
Can't relate.
I've read nearly 20 books this year already. So I'm on it with my reading. So that's my other hobby. It's not really, no.
I mean, kind of if you're a writer, it kind of goes hand in hand a bit that you're going to be a reader too.
Yeah. So that's another thing. But then I feel really productive if I can crochet and have an audiobook going through me. So I'm like reading at the same time. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have like ascended into some productivity master because I'm doing two hobbies at the same time. Or if I'm like art journaling and I've got a podcast going.
Yeah, I listen to crime documentaries when I'm doing my journaling and stuff, which is a complete U-turn. I'm one of them people who just loves
I was gonna say I would love to see like unedited versions of your video and you're just there like doing like a really like pretty intricate flower and it's like the body was found.
I left in one of my blogs the other day a bit of a crime documentary that I was listening to. I kind of put music over it, but I left the original audio in because sometimes it's nice for a bit of ASMR of like paper moving and stuff. And they didn't say anything gory or graphic on the thing, but someone in the comments recognized the voice of the YouTuber that I listened to, and she was like, oh, you watch her too? Oh, and I was just like, oh, there's people that know who I'm, so they know that I'm listening to like horrendous crimes whilst I'm sat here just doing creative stuff.
And then you put over it your like plinky plonky like
yeah. Like fairy music. Yeah.
No one would be any the wiser. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode, where you've got to learn a little bit more about us, our journaling journey, and our thoughts on creativity.
If you've got any questions or want to let us know what you thought of the episode, you can find and follow us over on Instagram and YouTube at My Green Cow and at Meg Journals.
Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you very soon.